Hello everyone, I greet to the name of God Almighty. My name is Apostle Silas, and today we have a very interesting video to react to. As a matter of fact, we are going to learn a little bit history about Islam, and today we are going to talk about how Islam arrived in South Africa. Okay, so I believe that this could be a first time of you getting to know about this history, so that make up the objective of this very channel, which is to keep learning about other religion. I know that some of you might be wondering that how did Islam even come to Africa in the first place, but then as for today we are looking at South Africa. So when we get out to it, of course we are going to learn a lot how it comes and by who were the people that accept the religion. So if today happens to be the first time of you checking out my channel, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on my Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, before we get on to the video, I'm a theologian and I make this video not to discredit anyone's religion. This is basically for educational purposes, and I believe that at the end of this video we all are going to learn from this. So guys, without any further ado, let's get on to this video and check this out.
Our faithful listeners to Freely Speaking will remember that we had the privilege a year or so ago of interviewing in Geneva Sheikh Al-Hajj Ahmed Deedat, who is president of the IPCI, that's the Islamic Propagation Center International, in Durban, South Africa. And it was amazing for me. Some of my Islamic friends in Geneva had called and said you were coming, and I didn't know this existed. I did not know about you, and it was very interesting to have our first conversation together. So since time has passed, and I am now in Durban myself, I would like to bring our audience into your center and hear you speak from your heart about your center, Islam in general, and then we'll expand out.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Thank you very much for letting us come. So let's start about Durban and Islam. How did it come here?
Muslims that touched the shores of South Africa were Muslims who were brought here by the Dutch. You see, when the Dutch people conquered Indonesia, those Muslims were fighting for their freedom. They were captured as prisoners of war, and they were shipped to the Cape of Good Hope and sold to the white man as slaves. Then when the British conquered Malaysia, those Malays, Muslims, were fighting for their freedom. They were also captured as prisoners of war, and they were also shipped to the Cape of Good Hope for the white man, and sold to the white man as slaves. For 300 years, those early first Muslims have touched these shores, and they have it under pressure from the Christians to Christianize them. But after 300 years of hammering, that group of people, they have become one of the most militant Muslim communities in the world. That hammering, instead of softening them, had hardened them as steel.
Now, you see, when you say they have become one of the most militant groups of Muslims, again, my Christian background forces me to ask, militant towards whom and to what? Because if there's one thing that Christianity and Islam have in common, it's that everybody is fighting everybody everywhere. Yes. So who is militant to whom in Islam around here?
Yes. No, the militancy is in its defense because they were under pressure, under attack. You see, the white man managed to change his surnames. They are almost all these people that are called Malays in this country today.
Malays.
Called Malays.
Aha.
Malays, like Malaysia. Malays. Though they were originating in Indonesia and in Malaysia, they are all called Malays. Now, that community of people, you see, because they were under pressure, the defense mechanism was also, it was not as soft. They were militant in their defense against the Christian missionaries.
Yes.
And that type of psychology remained with them. That was the one group of Muslims. And another group of Muslims came from the Indo-Pakistan subcontinent. Now, they came to this country because they were starving in India. So they came looking for a livelihood. So they settled down mostly in Natal and the Transvaal. and the Malays mostly in the Cape, because that's where they were taken in the first instance.
I see.
So the white men managed to change the names of these people. They all carry Western names. Like you'll find a Muslim name, it's a Yusuf Hendricks, Abdullah Fenter. So what is Fenter? What is Hendricks? What is Smith? So he says, no. These were our slave masters. They carried the names of the slave masters, exactly as in America.
Exactly the same.
Same thing happened there.
Yes.
But now with this difference, the 300 years of hammering that the Afro-Americans received in America, it changed them all to Christianity. This 300 years of hammering in Southern Africa made them better Muslims than the Muslims at home.
All right, then let me ask you a hard question right away. And that is, if 300 years of Christians hammering at the Muslims didn't change them, why would you think that 300 years now of Muslims hammering at Christians would change them? In other words, because the Islamic Propagation Center is not to spread Islam to the world.
It is. To the world.
Including
Muslims,
Christians.
Jews, Christians, and to all.
You expect Christians to resist for 300 years?
No. You see, if the right approach is there, you see, there is an approach. The approach of the Christian missionaries and the Christians then was a harsh approach. Like what they did to the American Negroes. In America, same type of treatment was given to the Muslims here. But now one gave in because they had no, somehow, they didn't have that type of background, religious background, to resist conversion. These people had. They go the Malays. Mm-hmm. They had something, basic knowledge about religion, which kept them together. Now, in our approach today, you see, we are using a technique of speaking to a people, the Jews and the Christians, according to their own background and experience. The methods that were used by the Christian missionaries was, in the past, attacking Islam, attacking the Holy Prophet Muhammad, attacking the Quran, and that didn't get their honey. But we are not attacking Jesus or the Christian people. What we are saying is, we have an approach where we are calling the people, says, come, let us reason together. And in that, we say, we want to show you from your own background and experience that it was about time that you look for a person who would give you a solution to all your problems. Because we say that Jesus Christ, before he parted, he told his disciples, he said, I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. Meaning you haven't got the capacity. He had the knowledge. He had the solution to our problems for eternity. Who Jesus Christ is the mighty, as a man of God, as a mighty messenger of God, as a Messiah, he had answers to all your problems. But the people to whom he was addressing, they were incapable of receiving that message. So he says, howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak from himself, but what things shall he hear, that shall he speak, and he shall declare unto you the things that are to come. He shall glorify me. Now we Muslims, we are claiming that Spirit of truth, or that comforter, as prophesied by Jesus, is Muhammad, and he is giving you a solution to all your problems. Those solutions might not go down well, because we are all used to certain ways of living, thinking. But if you sit and reason, these are solutions to your problems. Whatever problem you have.
This is great. Well, that's a very interesting video by Sheikh Ahmed Deedat, and of course he has given us a brief history how Islam came to South Africa, and then from some of the things in understand he mentioned, he make us to understand that it was basically the Dutch, that's people from Netherlands, that brought Islam to South Africa, and then all those things in a sense comes about how the European were actually conquering people, and then he was talking about how they conquer Malaysia, Indonesia, and then Australia, and then there are some of them of course who resisted, and then therefore they are fighting for their lives, and then some of them decide to arrive at the Cape town. Then in that process, those people begin to practice their religion, and then from there, that makes Islam got established, that is in the South Africa. That's through some of the activities of the West, or shall I say the European, and that makes some of them that probably you could hear them bearing maybe an Islamic name together with a European name, which was making example of Smith and then the rest of it. But then aside that, when he said so, of course, he went on to talk about how Christianity, you understand, perceive Islam, and then how Christians also see Islam, looking at some of the questions that the lady was also asking the chef concerning the militancy. And then from there, he tried to explain to us and everyone that is listening to us that the militancy was all about self-defense. Like these people, they try to resist, maybe try to resist an attack and all that. So I believe that a lot of you have things that you want to add up to some of the things that Sheikh Ahmed Deedat, you understand, say in this video, and I would like to welcome them at the comment section. I believe that some of us are all learning from some of the things that Ahmed Deedat is saying in this very video. So concerning propagation of Islam, of course, I could say that some things that maybe the Muslim of nowadays may be making is trying to force people into embracing Islam, because when you look at it in a sense, as of that time, both Christianity and Islam, you are using force to get people in a sense into their religion, and at the end of the day, it is we black people that end up becoming victim of some of these casualties. This is the reality of what that has happened in time past. But then in this nowadays, of course, I know that Christianity does not use force, neither does Islam use force to call anyone into their religion. But then there are some of the things that we say, you understand, even in our social media, which I feel that sometimes, you understand, they may not be right. For instance, we may be talking about, you understand, Jesus Christ, for instance, and we'll be discussing about oneness of God. And then when you try to explain who Jesus Christ, you understand, is to you, and then you hear the Muslim, of course, they will talk about, you understand, the calling to worship of one God. Of course, they could call all the rest of the prophet from Adam down to the Jesus, how they call everyone into worship of one God. And then therefore, when they see you being a Christian, they'll begin to tell you that you are blind, you are worshiping idol and all those things. I just feels like there are different ways that they can be able to say some of these things to these people and explain to them, instead of you going on, you understand, attacking them, talking about like all those things. In a sense, they are not necessary. I feels like there are right ways that you can kind of engage these people, talk to them in a camp way, not that you keep telling them that it is not their eyes that are blind but their heart is blind and all those things. Like they are not, you understand, necessary. I feel like there are better ways in which you can kind of talk to people and then they can understand you. And then if there are some things that you want to clarify to them, you can still do it the right way without necessarily have to attack them. Well, I know that everyone has his own approach on how to speak to people, so I can't say to anyone that this is the right way in which you should communicate to people anyway. But then it was actually a very interesting video, and I hope that we have learned a lot as far as this video is concerned and how Islam was spread to the southern part of Africa. So this is the end of my video. If you like my reaction, you should like, share and subscribe, and if you have any video you want me to react to, don't forget to drop it at the comment section and I'm going to check it out. So guys, remain blessed and I see you in my next video. Bye bye.